Om Shuklambaradharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarvavighnopashantaye Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham karishyami siddhirbhavatu me sada yenakshara samamnayam adhigamya maheshwarat kritsnam vyakaranam proktam tasmai paninaye namaha Vakyakaram Vararuchim Bhashyakaram Patanjalim Paninim Sutrakarancha Pranatosmi Munitrayam Vagarthaviva Sampraktau Vagarthah Pratipattaye Jagatah Pitaro Vande Parvati Parameshwarau Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Namaste, welcome. Can you see the screen clearly? Yeah, as usual. Okay. Om A I Un Rilik E Ong I Ouch Haya Varata Lan Yama Gananam Jabhanya Ghadadash Jabagadash Kapha cha tha tha cha ta tav kapai shashasar hal iti maheshwarani sutrani om tip thas ji sip thas tha mip vas mas ta atham ja thas atham dhvam it vahi mahing om su o jas ot shas ta bhyam bhis nge bhyam bhyas ngasi bhyam bhyas ngas os am ni os sup. So today I wanted to enter into a new topic of Samāsa vritti. But before we go on, did anyone have any questions from our previous section? You can let me know in the class. We were looking at these avyaya from Sarvanama. We were looking at Chit and Chana, and we were looking at some sentences in the back of the book. We were looking, yeah, that was page 157 in the book, and then we were seeing the exercises in the back, page 179. So we saw Chit and Chana makes this indefinite pronoun, and we were seeing some sentences there. So if you have any questions, let me know. Maybe we can come back to it at the end of class. Today, I wanted to start a new topic, and this is about Samāsa. So I know that, so as we start this topic, this what I'm going to be pulling from today is going to be from volume 3. I understand many of you might not have the book. That's okay, right? We won't need it quite yet. We are just going to touch some topics as we go along, right? Right. One of these topics that we want to touch right now is Samāsa. And so we're going to take them like little chutneys, okay? We're going to just take some chutney as we go along. But our main dosa is our other book, is our book 1. Because I know that many of you said we still need to review sentences and do more sentences to feel more comfortable. So we'll still continue to do sentences, but we'll take small topics from here so that we can continue learning as well, right? So this is Enjoyable Sanskrit Grammar Volume 3. It's called Panchavritti. Technically, it's Panchavrittayaha in plural. Panchavrittayaha. 5. Pancha is 5. Right? Vritti is a derived word. A word that you make new. Okay, a derived word. So you're making new words. So in this book, right, that in volume 1, we've studied 2 types of words in Sanskrit. Remember, that was our first class. There's 2 types of words in Sanskrit. Tingantam and Subantam, nouns and verbs. And what we've been seeing is that they are going to be syntactically connected in sentence, meaning that, right, we connect each noun to the verbs and the verbs to the noun. And that's how we make meaning in Sanskrit. So we found by finding verbal and nominal suffixes, ting pratyaya and sup pratyaya attached to the root dhatu and nominal basis pratipadika. So right, we were just connecting, we're breaking down sentences by connecting each noun to the verb, essentially. So what we saw was this basic equation that we saw in our earlier classes, that, right, a tinkantam is a dhatu plus a ting pratyaya, right? A verb is nothing but a dhatu, a root, plus ting pratyaya. And a subantam, a noun, is nothing but the pratipadika plus sup pratyaya. Yeah, hopefully we're okay with this. So in this volume 3, what the topic is we take a closer look at dhatus, different roots, and pratipadika, nominal basis. Okay, what does that mean? There's 2 types. Dhatus are of 2 types: original dhatus and derived dhatus. What we mean by that is, in the dhatu pata or dhatu kosha, there are a large number of dhatus that are listed there. But we can actually make more dhatus than are in the dhatu pata. We can derive more dhatus, which have additional meaning. And that's what this book focuses on. Also, pratipadikas, right? There's 2 types. There's plain pratipadikas, like what we were saying, Rama, Jnana, all these different pratipadikas. And then there's derived pratipadikas, meaning there's not just the ones we've listed, but we can make new pratipadikas. So don't get overwhelmed. They follow certain rules, so then we can see what these new pratipadikas are. So this book is about these new types of dhatus and new types of pratipadikas you can make, and they follow, and looking at the patterns that they follow. Once we understand those patterns, then we can understand their meaning. Okay. So that's what a vritti is. A vritti is a derived word, meaning that you're making a new word. out of it. You're making either new dhatu or you're making a new pratipadika. Okay, so that's what a vritti is. So there's 5 types of vrittis. One of the 5 types of vrittis is Samāsa vritti, meaning that you're making a new pratipadika derived by compounding, derived by adding subantas. So here we're making new pratipadikas by compounding subantas. Okay, so this is one of the vrittis, it's one of the derived words because we're making new pratipadikas. Okay. We'll come back to vigraha in a moment. Okay. So basic concept of a samasa vritti. Right? Vritti is derived word. Samasa is a compound. Okay, so you can repeat after me. Samasa vritti hi. Samasa vritti hi. Okay, so we're making a new pratipadika by compounding subantas. So we're going to take this slowly. So 2 or more subantas, nouns, which are meaningfully linked. So 2 or more subantas which are meaningfully connected can be compounded into a new pratipadika. That new pratipadika is called a samasa vritti. Generally, a compound is made with 2 nouns at a time. Of the 2 nouns, the first is called the purva padam, and the second is called uttara padam. Okay, so this says all of what we just said. What is a samasa vritti? So I have 1 subantam, and I'm adding a subantam. The first subantam is what we call purva padam. Purva means first, previous. Subantam, then the next one is uttara padam, right? Uttara means next, second one. So we have purva padam and we have uttara padam. When we add those, they make a new pratipadikam, which is called a samasa vritti. Notice it doesn't make a new subantam yet. It makes a new pratipadika, and then we still have to add a sup pratyaya to it. So you can say it's a samasa vrittihi, you can just say samasaha, or here's another fancy word, samasta padam. Samasta padam. So this is an equation I would write if you have a piece of paper there or somewhere to note this down. Purva padam, uttara padam equals new pratipadika. Okay, I switched my camera a little bit, so I'm mirroring you now. Okay. All right. So we're going to move on. I'll keep this here at the top. So here are some examples, right? One example of a samasa is Vedantaha, right? Maybe you've heard this word, Vedantaha. Vedantaha, right, is made up of two words. Vedanam antaha. Vedanam antaha. Okay, these are two. So I've my purva padam, which is Vedanam, and I have an uttara padam, antaha. And they're not just placed next to each other, but they have a meaningful connection. What do we mean by that? It's not just Vedas end. It's the end of the Vedas. Antaha and Vedanam, of the Vedas. So these two words are connected to each other. They have this meaningful connection to each other. Right? So we have one, we have two subantams that are meaningfully connected. My purvapadam is Vedanam, uttarapadam is Antaha, and then together they become Vedantaha. Okay, we'll talk about how that is made and add that up. Let me just show you a few more examples. This is not so familiar. Let's go to the more familiar ones. Paramatma, right? Paramaha atma iti paramatma. Right? So purvadam and uttarapadam gives you this samasa. Even anatma is technically a samasa. This particle nanya becomes an, and then atma, anatma. So notice how these words, to understand the word, I can say a sentence. Vedantaha, right? If I want to say the meaning of Vedanta, I would say Vedanam antaha iti Vedantaha. That's what we call a vigraha. A vigraha is an explanatory explanation sentence. It's a sentence which explains the meaning of the compound. Vigraha. Sometimes we say vigraha vakya, because the sentences which vigraha, which explains the components of the word. I don't have this on here. I want to show you one more thing that's not here. Yeah, I'm going to switch screens here. Okay, so let me zoom in here. Okay, so we don't need to know all of this stuff, but I want to show you how this is made, how a samasa vritti is made. Here we have these two words and meaningful connection. Vatasya moolam. Okay, what is moolam? Moolam is root. Vata is that banyan tree. What does say tree? Okay, so root of the tree. Vatasya moolam. This is a technically lokika vigraha. Let's just say vigraha for our sake right now. Vigraha. This is the sentence that's describing, that's going to describe this, right? Yeah, this is more complicated than we need to know, but what we see is they're going to be a meaningful connection. So just look at this left side. You don't need to look at the right side right now. If we break this down, it's vata plus ngas. Su ojas ochas tabhyam bims nebhyam bias ngasi, bhyam, vyas, ngas, os, nas is 6-1 pratyaya. Right? So that's why vatasya is vata plus ngas. That makes sense? Yeah, vata plus nyas. Nyas is the 6-1 pratyaya that we see su o jas. And mulam is just, that's mula plus su. Su o jas, that's 1-1, right? By being qualified as a samasa, these words are qualified as a pratipadika. And when it's called a samasa, these sup pratyayas are removed. So I get rid of the nyas, and so it's just vata, and I get rid of the su, it's just mula. So my new pratipadika is vata mula. Okay, so I take these two words, their meaningful connection, and then I remove all the sup pratyayas. And I get together, I get this one word, vata mula. Now, the new pratipadika declines as a ending napumsaka, and we'll see why in a moment. We haven't seen all of the rest of this yet. Harprasadji, you have a question?
Yes, sir. Couple of things.
Oh, I can't hear you. That's, I think, my fault. Let me see. Yeah, please.
Okay, a couple of things.
Yes.
Now, so by the combination of two subantas, we get a samasa vritti.
Yeah.
Now, the samasa vritti is a pratipadika. Now, this pratipadika, even for a pullinga, it may not end in aha, in the first vibhakti. So how can you make out, for example, here in the sheet you sent in the mail, Paramatma is Paramaha Atma.
Yeah.
How did you get Paramaha?
Yeah, so in there, right, paramaha by itself, it can be any gender, but it's an adjective to atma. And so then it takes the gender of atma.
Right.
So paramaha and then atma. But how do you know that, is your question, how do you know the gender of the whole samasa?
Correct.
Yeah. So we'll get to that. Yeah.
Okay. And the second question is, here you said moolam. One before that. Now, when you use the subanta pratyaya like nas and su, are you using one with it letters or without the it letters?
Yeah. So we usually take with it letters, because this is originally how we would be made, right? Vata plus ngas and mula plus su, right? And then the it letters go. But here we're going to remove the whole thing anyways. So it is, we remove both of the supratyas. So whether you remove the it letters or not, it doesn't matter, because the whole thing will be removed anyways.
Oh, okay. So it does not matter whether it is with it letter or without it letter.
Yes. But we generally, when we're making this vigraha, we tend to, when we break it down like this, we tend to write with it letters. But it's just for our sake. It doesn't really make a difference. But in this book, you'll see that we tend to use the it letters.
Okay. Then how do we, is moolam a napumsakalinga word, right?
Yeah, moolam is napumsakalinga.
Oh, it is one here.
Yes, correct.
And that is the reason Su has come.
Correct.
Okay. So the with it letters, it is yes with a halan, it is a sa with a halanta.
Yep. So it's with it letter ngas will be, yep. So with the halanta.
No, the other one, mula.
Su. Oh, mula. Yeah. So with, right, it's just, yeah. So it's akaranta, right? So it's mula plus su.
No, sir.
Akaranta napumsakalinga.
Yeah.
Pratipadika.
Akaranta napumsakalinga, and with the it letter, what is 1 with the it letter?
So it's just su. Su is the u, and then this chandra bindu is the it letters that go. And then this sakara becomes visarga usually for masculine, but for napumsakalinga, the whole thing. You get up, it gets replaced.
All right. Okay. All right. Thank you. Dhanyawada.
So I'm going to switch screens here again. So there's a few types of different samasas. Okay, this is going to help us get a little bit further in this topic. Now, they're differentiated by which of the words is pradhanam, which is predominant. Okay, predominant here is, what's the main word here? Wait, the predominant word is what we call pradhana, right? The pradhana shabda. Pradhana padam. So in this, there's this first one, we call it, here, let me take this out. So this first one is avyayi bhava samasaha. Okay, so say it with me. Avyayi bhava samasaha. Avyayi bhava samasaha. For short, we're just going to call it type A for avyayi bhava. Type A, okay? So we have to make this simple in the beginning, then we go a little deeper. So type A. Type A, the meaning of purva padam has pradhanam, has predominance. Okay, so I'm mirroring you. So this should be on your left side, am I right? Or is this on your right side? Okay, that's your, let me, yeah. So this is, I need to do this. Okay. So this, right? You're looking at this is on your left side, right? Am I correct? Yeah. So this is your purva pada. Okay. Your purva pada has predominance, has pradhana for Avyaya Bhava. Okay. Now let's look at Tat Purusha. One second. Okay, so this is Tat Purusha. Tat, you can repeat after me. Tat Purusha Samāsa. So Tat Purusha Samāsa. And in Tat Purusha Samāsa, we're going to call this type T, right? So for Tat Purusha, type T. Here, the meaning of Uttarapada has pradhana, has predominance. Uttarapada artha pradhana. So the meaning of the Uttarapada is going to be the main thing. So let's see an example. This will make it more clear. We saw Vatasya Moolam. Iti Vatamulam. Here, the main thing is Moolam. Right? When I say Vatamulam Chinnati, right? Chinnati means to cut. If I say Vatamulam Chinnati, are we cutting the tree? In a way, yes, but we're cutting something more specific. We're cutting the root, right? The root of the tree is what we are cutting. The root is the main thing here. I have emphasis on the root. And because the emphasis on the root, I'm going to take the gender of that Uttarapada in Tat Purusha. In Tat Purusha, I take the gender of the Pradhana, this second word, right? This other example, Neelam Utpalam. Neelam Utpalam, blue lotus. And I can say Neela Utpalam. If I put it as a Samasa, it's Neelot Palam. Right, you get that sandhi there. Neelot Palam. Now, this word Neelot Palam, let's say I say Neelot Palam Vikasati. Vikasati means blooms. Does blue bloom? Does Neelam bloom? No. Nikasati is Utpalam, the lotus blooms. So my Pradhana Shabda is Utpalam. It's the second one. Neelotpalam. So I'm going to take the gender. This is going to take the gender of the second word. So type T always takes the gender of the second word, and the meaning of the second word is the main thing here. Okay? So Avyayi Bhava Purvapada has predominance. Type T, Uttarapada has pradhana. Okay? So A, T. Right? And exactly what they're saying in the chat is that also the number, the vachana will also depend on the pradhana word. So the gender and number depend on the pradhana shabda. So because moolam is singular and utpalam is singular, these are going to be singular. But I said Vedanam antaha iti Vedantaha. Right? Antaha was plural, so the whole word is going to take plural. That's a type T word. Okay. And now one more that's important is this is we'll just say type B, okay? Bahuvrihi Bahuvrihi Samāsaha. Bahuvrihi Samāsaha. Here, the meaning of Anyapadam, another word other than these two, has pradhana, has predominance. Okay, so we say Pitam Ambaram. Pitam Ambaram. Yellow clothes. Yasyasaha. So let's just look at these two words. Pitam Ambaram. Iti Pitambaraha. Now, if I say Pitambaraha Gacchati, if I say Pitambara Gacchati, is yellow going? Yellow is not going. Yellow can't move. A color can't move, right? Do the clothes go? No, the clothes aren't going. It's the person who is wearing the yellow clothes, right? Vishnu. The person who wears the yellow clothes is the main thing we're talking about, which is other than these two words. So that's the Anyapadam. So because it's referring to Vishnu, which happens to be masculine and singular, this word Pitambara is also going to be masculine and singular. Even though, right, Pitam and Ambaram both are not masculine, right? But when they add it together, they're going to be made masculine because Anyapada is masculine, Vishnu. Pitambaraha, right? It refers to someone else, refers to Vishnu. It doesn't refer to Pitam or Ambaram. Okay, so if the Purva Pada is Pradhana, that's what? Type A. If the Uttara Pada is Pradhana, type T. And if Anyapada, type B. Okay. So that's what we need to know for today. Now, this might seem super academic, right? What are we getting into here? Once you start learning this and you listen to a little bit of Vedanta, you'll realize that teachers are breaking up samasas all along. What they're doing is you'll hear words like Vatasya Moolam, Iti Vatamulam. What they're doing is they're telling you the Vigraha of the samasa. This is actually very, very relevant to Vedanta, because what the Veda says, we don't exactly know what's the relationship between the two words. That's why we have our lineage that tells us what is the exact meaning of that samasa. So with this background, we'll see a little bit more, and we'll see more examples in our next class. And once we do that, then I can start using it at Vedanta class also. Just a little bit, just for you few people, right? Okay, we'll end here. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om.